Welcome back to the Football Terrace. It's Straight Facts on Tuesday. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Loads to go through today. The international break has begun, but football conversations, they never really end. We're not doing Lampard's goals and Gerrard, although it's the international break, but we are looking at the title race. Are Chelsea now involved in it? Big claims from their fans online. We're also taking a look at a rumour that Elliot Anderson could be on his way to Manchester United sooner rather than later. Is that the type of player needed next at Old Trafford for Ruben Amorim? We're looking at Arsenal as well, who are still clear of Manchester City in the title race, but is trouble brewing there? Plus Liverpool. We've got to go into Liverpool a little bit today. Their title dream seems all but over. Why is Wirtz not getting the same level of criticism that others get? Speaks that and much more today on Straight Facts. We've got Aaron, who's a big gooner here. Aaron Talks Arsenal's in the house. David Speaks Football. There's a lot of Talks Football and Speaks Football. Speaks Football is with us today. Positive Dan is on the way. We don't know where he is yet. We're not sure if he's standing in the dark like a few weeks ago. We don't know.
If he's standing in the light, he's too positive to stand in the dark. It'd just be standing in the light, soaking up the UV rays, wouldn't he?
He said, message me when you're here. I don't know what link. He must have used an old link. He must be behind. I think he's backstage on an old.
It's 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
He's still there. He's going to sit there and goes, you guys didn't bring me on for the whole show. Dan, if you're watching, you've got the wrong link, me old mate. The wrong link.
He's clicking that one.
His technology is shocking. He's
he
shocking
is.
with technology.
He is.
Yeah.
He's like a 90-year-old man. You know what I mean? I bet, did he read text like that? Like,
yeah, we went to the same school, same school, same class. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the smartest, but we shouldn't be too far off in regards to technology. That's all I'm saying.
You would think different sets, though, I'm presuming.
Yeah, maybe. I won't go into that.
Oh, here he is. He's here. He's arrived. Here he is.
Found the link, man.
Did you click on the wrong link?
No, I don't know what was going on. My thing kept going up and down or something. I don't know what was happening there. What's happening?
Welcome back, mate. Welcome back to the show. Of course, LB is with us as always on a Tuesday afternoon. But viewers, please like, share, subscribe, get that bell notification turned on. If you're watching over on X, it'd be amazing if you could come join us here on YouTube. The link is there. If not, watch on X, but give it a retweet. Where to start today? I want to start with Liverpool, actually. I want to start with Liverpool. And again, their performances have been rightfully criticised. But I suppose my first question I want to throw out. Liverpool's title dreams, David, are they over? Are they dead?
I mean, they've lost 5 games already. I mean, what did they lose all of last year? Was it 4 games? I think it was 4 games.
2 of them came after they won the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. And I've said this numerous times before. I think Slot came into a Klopp team, a bit like Arteta came into an Emery team. Said the right things and got the result. I know winning a cup is not the same as winning the league, but they've thrown money at it now and thought it was all going to gel together, and it just hasn't. It just hasn't. I've not seen Liverpool get played off the park by Man City like that in a long time. It's always been quite competitive. I mean, LB can vouch for that, I think. But that's I've never seen City play Liverpool off the park like that. So I don't think it bodes well. It is early days. But I don't think Liverpool are involved in this one this year.
What were you saying, LB? I mean, we're going to get onto City a little bit later in this sort of title race conversation. But as you say, it's their 5th defeat. I'm not actually sure on how many games it is now in the last. I'm going to get that number now. It's their
last 9, I think.
Yeah, 3 out of their last 10 that they've won, wow. And only one of them in the Premier League. The 2 of those games are Champions League games, knocked out the EFL Cup as well. Can you see him turning it round? I mean, there was green shoots of hope. There was a lot of Liverpool fans online in the build-up. I thought they'd turned a corner in the last 2 games. But one of the stats have come out today. I don't know if you've seen it. The difference in distance you covered in that game, sprints. I think it was somewhere in the region of 3 or 4 kilometres more in sprinting City did in the game. There wasn't even any sort of fight from Liverpool for whatever reason, LB.
Yeah, I mean... Listen, if I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't be throwing in a towel yet. I think it's too soon. But they need to go on a run now. They can't really afford. I mean, they've already lost 5. I mean, to put this into perspective, right? everyone on this panel knows just how bad City were last year. Like, we were horrific. We lost 9 games in the whole season. Prem. They've already lost 5. Yeah. And we're at the start of November. So that shows you just how bad this is. This is a crisis. But it's so early on in the season that they can start it out. So I don't think they should be thrown in the towel yet. However, do I think they're going to win the league? I don't think they are. But listen, Liverpool have quality players, and they could easily get back on a 5-10 match winning streak. They can do that. I don't think they are going to do it. And 1 or 2 more losses in the next 4 or 5 games, and I think it's time to call it over. But I think they're still clinging on for dear life. But they were poor, man. Listen, before the game, I was confident coming into the game. I felt that we were more ready. I thought we were more settled. We just played 2 games against Bournemouth and Dortmund, our 2 best games of the season. We look steady. We looked like the players on the pitch knew what they were doing. And coming into the game, I just felt that Liverpool weren't quite at that level. I know they'd had a couple of wins or whatever, but I didn't think they were anywhere near the level of City in terms of stability, in terms of the play. I knew the 11 that were starting on the pitch, and I knew the job that every single one of the players on the pitch were going to do. Liverpool, we still had question marks. Where's Wirtz going to play? Is he going to play Ekatike as a striker, like running in behind? Is he going to drop him in deep? The back line, the midfield, what's it? I just felt there were so many more questions. And in big games, you can't really go into big games having those question marks. Every player on the pitch has got to know the job to a man. Otherwise, you get ripped apart. And City were toying with them. I was, before the Nico Gonzalez goal, which was the second goal, I was so gutted that it was only 1-0 because we thoroughly deserved to be more than 1-0 up. And when we got that deflected goal, I was buzzing because I think we deserved it. Second half, they did improve, but they just weren't good enough. I just felt that it was, you saw City where you saw a settled team, a team that knew what they were doing, a team that had a style of play that everyone knew, patterns of play, how to score, how to defend, and Liverpool, who were just a little bit confused about what they were meant to do on the pitch. And that obviously comes from the manager. So I'm not going to say they're out of it. Do I think they're going to win the league? No, I don't. But I think that Liverpool have such good quality players, because I'm going to be shameless, that they could go on a 5-10 match winning streak and get themselves back into it. I don't think they're going to do that. And in the next couple of games, I do think they're going to drop more points. And then I'll say they're out. But I just think it's a little bit too soon to say they're out of the race, given it's the 11th of November, bro.
I can see what you're saying. Good, sorry, Tom.
So I want to say that on performances, this is what Julien Laurent has put out today. It says that, I know these numbers are out already, but still it's worth mentioning again. This is in the game. I actually got it wrong. It's more. City run 118 kilometers. So that's running. That isn't walking or distance cover. That's running as a team collectively on Sunday. Liverpool, it was 109 kilometers. So it was 9 kilometers more in the game covered by Manchester City, which is,
and that's mad because Liverpool would have been chasing the game as well. So that's mad.
On top of that, to put it into context, no one has covered more ground in the Premier League this season than City, who have covered 1,268 kilometers. The team that have covered the second most is Arsenal at 1,261. So there is about a 7-kilometer difference between the two teams. But they're both very, very high. Yeah. Liverpool, on the other hand, are over 170 kilometers behind them both.
Wow.
I don't think that's a lack of effort, by the way. I think that might just be confused of their roles. New people in their team not being sure what to do. I honestly don't think it's lack of effort. They're just confused. They're not sure whether to go left, whether to go right. Shall I track this man? Shall I track that man? And honest truth, I cannot believe how much Salah misses Trent. I'm not saying Trent. I always rated Trent, but I just cannot believe how much Salah misses him. Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
Liverpool. No, it's probably not even just Salah though. It's how much Liverpool miss Trent.
True.
Of course, Salah probably would be a main beneficiary of that, considering the side that they're playing on, the fact that they're right next to each other on the pitch. But Liverpool probably do miss a player like that, and they probably could have benefited with some of their signings that we all thought, were really good signings, and they might end up well being good signings. But they just haven't. Enough of them haven't hit the ground running yet, and that's a big problem. Every signing's a risk. We all know that, yeah. Especially when you're buying out of the domestic league. And even then, there's no guarantee when you do buy sort of inside. We're seeing that with Eze. He hasn't quite settled in just yet. But, with Liverpool, you're looking at Florian Wirtz hasn't really hit the ground running. Kirkes hasn't hit the ground running. You're looking at their right back. I can't remember his name's jumped out of my head.
Frimpong.
All of a sudden, already, Isak ain't I know maybe a little bit less of Isak because, you know, he had the Newcastle thing, getting into thing. All of a sudden, they've signed 5 or 6 players and 75% of them ain't hit the ground running. That's massive. You need a bit more of that. You know, if you're going to make that sort of volume of signing, you need a few more of them. You need a Kirkes at least and your defender to be able to hit the ground running, to have that foundation, whilst Virgil van Dijk is clearly not the player he's demonstrated in the past. That's okay. You know what I mean? Age going to catch up with everyone. I'm not saying that he's finished, but, you know, there's possible signs.
It's going to happen at some point, won't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. And some point sooner rather than it would do 10 years ago. There's obviously...
To be fair...
For that second goal, though, Van Dijk, I don't know what he was doing. He's just moved out the way like that. And he's had a few moments like that this season. But what I did say at the start of the season is that as much as everyone was raving about all the signings Liverpool have made, I said no one's talking about the players they've lost. I've said it so many times at the time. I was like, everyone's going crazy. They've lost key players, you know, God rest his soul, in Jota and Nunes, two players who weren't starters but could come on and were impact players. And they don't have that. And they were steady. They'd been at the club for a while. And also Trent, the telepathic understanding. I said it was going to be a major miss. And people were telling me, oh, we've got Frimpong. He's even better attacking. And I was thinking, hold on a minute, Frimpong, like he's had a few good seasons in Germany, and you think he's going to be to the caliber of Trent? No way. And of Diaz, who starts the press.
That, though, to be fair,
there was people saying that to me, mate.
Because I tell you what most people were saying, because I was one of them. Is I didn't think Frimpong was as good as Trent, but I didn't think the losing Trent would have as big an impact on Salah. That's the point.
Yeah.
Like Salah's. I think what it was is I think because Trent
is like what De Bruyne was to you lot. That's what he was. He was their main.
Trent can get the ball to Salah quickly, which allows Salah to run at defenders on a 1v1. Whereas when he's getting the ball now, the defenders are getting close to him. Like Nico O'Reilly literally pocketed him, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's also a year older, right? And if you lose an inch of pace,
Diaz as well. Look what Diaz is doing. Look what Diaz is doing over in Germany.
Sorry, Dan. Go on. Sorry, I didn't realize.
What Diaz is doing over in Germany, that was a big miss, and no one even batted an eyelid. 70 million to Bayern Munich, and no one really said anything. And it's like this is a big player for them. He came in and filled Mane's role
I ain't got robbed there on that price. Couldn't believe it. He paid that much money.
This is what I'm saying. He's been fantastic for them.
I'm going to say, but it's a team thing, isn't it? In the sense of, I do think they're missing Trent. I think that is one of the reasons. I also think there is an element of a lack of. When you see Baller FC that don't like the word hard work, they see it as a bit of a poisonous thing to say about football, tweeting and saying that Liverpool don't look up for this. I think there's part of that, whether it's not believing in the manager anymore, whether it's an element of bloatedness because they won the league last year. I mean, the last time they had a start to a season like this was the year after they won the league the last time. You listen to Pep's, you listen to Fergie's, you listen to the greats, the absolute greatest managers of all time. And I believe there's 2 things you have to achieve to be in the greatest manager of all time conversation. And the only manager I give a buy on this to is Ancelotti because of the volume of Champions League. But you've got to retain a league title and you've got to win that Champions League. Those 2 things for me put you into the, whatever you want to use the word, whatever the top category is, you've got to do those 2 things. Because I think motivating your team to go again the year after, it's such an underrated commodity within a coach, keeping a team motivated, keeping everybody working in the same way. And I think that's missing. I also think some of the new signings just haven't been good enough. And some of that isn't ability. I look at Wirtz and he looks 3 or 4 kilos too small for the Premier League. He got ragdolled at the weekend. Yes, that's a good little drag back and that's a good back heel. And he touches there because it's a football. But every time I see him try and drive past someone, I know he got pulled back. And Nico got booked.
Modric was like that though when he first came in. But the difference is the quality out on. Yeah, that's it.
Eventually it did. Eventually, and that's why I'm not writing. I'm not writing Wirtz off. I'm not writing Wirtz off. I'm not writing.
I think that's why I'm
not writing Šeško off. But I think what's happened at Liverpool, it's almost a perfect storm of multiple things at the same time. I don't think it's one thing. I don't think it's just Trent. I don't think it's just the manager's system. I don't think it's just new players not settling in. I think it's a combination of all these things that are going on. But I looked at a team on Sunday, and I know they scored a goal that some people think it should have been disallowed. Some think it should have stood. That could have changed the game. Yes, absolutely, but it didn't. And they were comprehensively beaten. And there is no defending that. There is no defending that performance. And there's been many a game like that this year. And what you can't get away from is Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool fans can either. They were league champions, one of the best teams. They spent £420 million. And they currently sit behind the worst Manchester United team in 44 years.
I think that might be the
great.
issue, though. I think that might be the issue. Even when Fergie was winning back-to-back titles, and LB can speak for Pep, they don't sign 4 or 5 starting 11 players, because that does change the chemistry, doesn't it? They might throw a Berbatov in there or a Veron in there or something like that. You don't buy 4 or 5 starters. Yeah, you just top up to what was working. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like these guys, they've done like when Abramovich came to Chelsea and bought like 5, 6 starters into the first team. You can't. I mean, we all expected it, but in hindsight, when you look at it and you look at history, you don't do that. That's not going to work. The attitude, the work rate, it's going to change because there's at least 4 or 5 players in that starting 11 that are different. They've got a different attitude. They've come from a different environment. That's where I think they've gone wrong, to be honest.
Do you know what, David? Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, when you say like hindsight's a funny thing, in it, because you look at the first 5 league fixtures and Liverpool win all 5, and you sit there and they'd won the vast majority of them late on, and you think, do you know what though? Because they're champions, you go, champions win. You almost ignore how they've played, and you go, yeah, they're doing well. You cut forward an extra few games, the next 5, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Given that context and that hindsight, you're looking back and going, do you know what? They were just probably a little bit shit in them first 5 games. So when you can sort of look back at it, you can go, do you know what? Have Liverpool actually been good at all this season? Probably in phases, probably in some games, probably in patches, probably in halves. But as champions, they've been absolutely nowhere near the races.
Arsenal have also signed, what is it, 7 or 8 players? 7 or 8.
Not
players.
first teams like Liverpool.
Not first team.
Not first team. That's the point I made.
Teams,
you can sign 7 or 8 players, of course, but I'm talking about here's your starting 11
have
that
they
you
signed,
guaranteed every week. You know, and
had Liverpool signed 7 new starters?
Well, they got
signed 4 minimum. They've signed 4 minimum.
Striker, left winger. Well, if you're playing Wirtz out there,
yeah.
It's a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
Just look at it now. So in the summer they got.
Sorry, go on.
So the name. So Isak, Wirtz, Ekatike. Sorry, all these bloody adverts.
Frimpong.
Kirkez and Frimpong. So it was 5 new outfield players, but
50% of the outfield. 50% of the outfield. So how are you expecting it to have the same intensity, the same understanding? Like I said earlier in this conversation, I don't think their lack of running or distance covered is because of effort. I think it's just understanding and understanding where each other are and being scared to make decisions.
Do you know what, Dave? I think if Florian Wirtz and Frimpong came good, you could almost get away from the fact that maybe Isak ain't been that great and maybe the left back Kirkez ain't been that great. But the fact that none of them have been that great, that's the problem.
And I wanted to ask you guys about that, because I'm all for giving. I think people should be given time. But when you look, for instance, at Wirtz, I mean, Isak's been injured. He's just come back, didn't come off the bench at all at the weekend. I mean, their lack of performance has been quite profound considering the transfers. And we saw what was said about Grealish. We've all saw what happened to Paul Pogba. We've seen what happened to Lukaku. Yeah. I mean, you've seen the media attention Gyökeres has got with 6 goals. We've seen the vile attacks on Šeško. Yeah, we've seen the vile attacks from Man United fans on Šeško, and he's got at least 2 goals. Why do you guys think? Why do you guys think that the Isaks of this world and the Wirtzes are being given such an easy ride from the mainstream? Rivals are going in, of course, but the media still seem to. I mean, it was the media that said Isak needs time to adapt to the league at Liverpool. I mean, they don't give players from outside the league time to adapt.
They're media darlings, though, aren't they? They always have been. Well, that's just my personal thing. They always have been media darlings, you know, that they get that little. And to be fair, you know, a lot of it they might have earned. Do you know what I mean? Over the years, they've had some magnificent sides, especially obviously, you know what I mean, in the 80s. But you know, they've always been. I've always sort of been that way anyway. I'm open to debate for that, but they've always just had that extra little bit of favoritism in the media, and that's what it is. They're held to a little bit different of account to a lot of other teams.
Yeah,
that's just my little take.
I agree with you, Aaron, mate. Wholeheartedly, for sure.
I just don't think they're as big as they think. That's the truth. They can win another league title. they could win more Champions Leagues. They still wouldn't get the attention that Man United get. They still wouldn't get the pressure that Man United players get. I don't know when that would change. I think Man United would need to be terrible for another 10 years, maybe. But they're just not as big as Man United, even now. That's the truth. And that's why those players can have a day off. Like I said, Anthony had a better start than most of these geezers.
I hear that. LB, rest of the panel. I want to speak about their two big signings. Gut feeling on Wirtz. Give him time by all means. What's your gut telling you? Do you think he's going to be a Prem player, or are you thinking, nah?
Yeah, so I think at the moment he's massively underperforming. And I know one of the reasons you can tell he's massively underperforming is because some Liverpool fans are glazing some of the most average things I've ever seen in my life. And the media are creating fake statistics, that we've never seen before for this player, like runs into the box and stuff like that, So I think the guy's massively not performing to the levels that he is doing. I think he will come good, personally. I think Wirtz will come good. I think it'll take time. I said this at the time, right? But I do think he would have been better at City with Haaland. And I'm not just saying that to try and wind people up. I genuinely believe that he was a perfect fit for City. But obviously he chose Liverpool. So
most players would be, though, wouldn't they?
Well, no. That's not true.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
most players. I don't think so.
We give players like that. Give them Haaland. Haaland's the best striker in the world on the planet.
Yeah, but certain players might thrive in a different style of play. So you might be a mid defender, but you can't kick a ball out the back. You're not going to be good at City, are you? So that's fake news. But no, I do think
attacking wise though, a player of his
okay,
style.
I'm not really that bothered about that conversation, but I just that's my opinion in it that he would have been better at City. I do think he'll come good. My one, and this is not reactionary. I said this at the time. I don't think they should have bought I don't think they should have bought Isak. I said it at the time. It wasn't reactionary. It's not a reactionary take. I said it before they bought him, and Liverpool fans were just saying to me, "Oh, you just don't want us to get Isak because you're scared." I said, "No, I ain't scared."
TKO is looking good.
I think for me, they would have been better.
Even him though, he's got 3 goals. Gyökeres has got 4, but so he gets a pass as well. Everyone says he's looking good.
Who? Ekitike.
He's got 3.
I'm sure he's got more than that.
Was it 4? He's got 3 or 4, and that's it.
But I think the thing is with Ekitike as well is you bought Gyökeres, bro, to be the here and now guy. Yeah, he's 27 years old. Ekitike is younger. He's meant to be their developing players. Isak's meant to take. Isak's there here, So I think Ekitike is. I thought it was shit against City, but I think he's doing an okay job. For me, I think they would have been better off putting that money on. It don't matter if Isak's played. It's not about if he's played or not. I'm talking about have they spent the money correctly. In my opinion, I think they would have been better off buying another centre half, and maybe investing that money elsewhere. And by the way, Salah, I think he's leaving at the end of the season, mate. Because that last 15 minutes, he did not look interested. How many times was he offside? He was offside so many times at the end of that game. He just could not be bothered one little bit. So I think he's probably gone. But for me, I think it's more disappointing that Gyökeres is. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be looking at Gyökeres. I'm thinking you should be an easy fit into this team. You're a left back who likes getting forward, whipping in crosses, which is what Andy Robertson used to be good at. And they're having to play Andy Robertson, who's 34, because Gyökeres is shocking. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think people are doing a little bit too much, right? And I could go on and cook them so much, because obviously I got a lot of stick on the Wirtz thing, but Wirtz is massively underperformed. I do think he'll come good. The main one for me is Isak. I don't think they should have bought Isak.
The problem is obviously with that is when you buy a blockbuster number 10 that probably everyone in the world would have liked at the time. Your expectations, as well as the transfer fee, as well as everything that comes with a player, you expect him to come good. And Liverpool might be a different side if he'd have come good. Do you know what I mean? It's just at the minute it ain't. It just hasn't really worked out. And whilst granted, Liverpool are defending champions. They've got a few aging players. Maybe they're in a transition period, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, when you make them signings, sometimes you just haven't got time to wait for them to work. And granted, that doesn't discount from the fact that sometimes players do need different levels of time to come into a team or a league and suit it. However, that also doesn't deter from the fact that you can go around the other side of it and say, look, okay, granted, you might need some time, but come on, Florian, you kind of need to get up to gear now. We're not in a good moment, Florian. We paid a lot of money for you, Florian. Time to start fucking performing, Florian. Do you know what I mean? It's not a bad player, but at the same side, you've got to kind of pull the finger out at one stage. And if it is a little bit of lightweight, what did Modric do? Do you know what I mean? He found a way. If you're a world-class player, or you're a £100+ million player, find a way sooner
Well, at the
rather
same
than
time,
later.
though, bro. Let me ask you. Let me just come in on that point, right? Because I agree with what you're saying. I think I just said it myself that Wirtz needs to improve in that. Yeah, but like, what about the other players that have been there and done it? What about Gravenberch? What about McAllister? What about Van Dijk?
Gravenberch took about a year, didn't he, to be?
No, I'm talking about now. I'm talking about you've got a player here in Wirtz who I agree needs to improve.
Yeah.
Why is your Salah not performing? Why are McAllister not performing?
Can I just jump? Go on, Dave. No, go on.
I think it's back to the point we made. 5 new starters, LB. It just takes time to understand each other. That is literally it.
Yeah, but there's
Wirtz. If he wants to improve, he needs to hire me. You know, he needs to do some back squats, do some bench press. He needs to put on a bit of
shameless plug. David speaks football.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Do you know what? Though? Look, I kind of get that. At the same time, though, I'm just not about letting football players off the fucking hook. I'm not about letting them off the hook in the sense of. There's individual battles that I watched on Sunday, players lose, that I don't think matter about the system. I said the same in the Man United game. When Bruno's got Maz on the right, a simple pass, so we can cross the ball in to free Mbumo in the middle, him choosing to go on the inside is a mistake I'm going to criticize. I'm not blaming formation, training, coaching, motivational speeches, how he made Bruno feel in the morning meeting. Couldn't give a monkeys about any of that shit. When Cunha goes to the left of me, it's free. Behind me, I can lay the ball off and make a run in behind, or to the right of me is 3 Tottenham players. If he chooses to try and dribble for those 3 players and lose it, I'm not turning around and going, fuck you, Amarin. I'm going to keep the same energy for Liverpool in exactly the same way. When I'm seeing Conor Bradley get cooked, and by the way, one of the biggest reasons he got cooked, Gary Neville called it out. And don't let Gary Neville fool you in one thing in his punditry when he plays down how good he was. He was also not quick. So he knows exactly how to stop skillful, quick wingers. And he said it absolutely right. You actually stand off them a little bit and make them do the guessing. When you rush in on someone like Doku every time to get him, he knocks the ball past you, great center of gravity, and goes. He lost all those duels. That isn't because Wirtz only joined in the summer. That isn't because Trent actually used to get cooked more than him, to be honest with you. That isn't because Trent isn't there. That's an individual battle. Van Dijk's positioning this year and his general defensive play, I don't think that's because all of it isn't down to new players. City won 70% of the duels. So that's where the players are in the right place and they're contesting for the ball. 70% of them were won by City. That's individuals delivering on the day as well. And I do agree with you, LB. I think there is an element of, I'm critical of their new signings, but there's a lot of other existing players. You know, players like Van Dijk, who are, some say, greatest centre-back of all time. For me, there has to be an element of criticism that goes in that goes into that. There has to be. Individuals need to be criticised as well.
Last year, when everyone was saying, "Oh, Liverpool have come out of nowhere," I said they've not come out of nowhere, and I said they've got 4 world-class players: Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah. Right, and they lost one in Trent, and Alisson is now injured. But the 2 leaders of that team are Van Dijk and Salah. And if your 2 main guys, the 2 leaders you look to, everyone in that defense looks to Van Dijk, and everyone in the higher part of the pitch looks to Salah. And when them 2 are not performing, it's very hard for the other players, I think, to bail them out and perform. When you're looking at your best players not performing, Van Dijk is obviously trying to. You see Van Dijk getting very frustrated now with some of the other Liverpool players. And I think when they look over, you look over at the guy you're supposed to look up to, the guy who's supposed to lead you, and he's not performing. You've got Salah sulking, looking like he's not interested. I think that has a detrimental effect on the other players and even the manager, because the manager's got he has big decisions to make now with Salah. Does he play him? Because right now it looks like they're playing with a man less with Salah. And obviously he's the greatest, one of the greatest players of all times. So it's a very difficult situation because some Liverpool fans are going to win him to start.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think on top of that, when he's one-on-one with O'Reilly, I actually agree with some of what you've said there, Dave. You know, a lot of players leave, a lot of players come in, it impacts you. But when he's one-on-one with a fullback, in that moment, that isn't impacting him. That's him versus that individual. And look, Man United, I'll give you an example. You're someone that's very critical of how United play, and you put a lot of that on the system. that system hasn't stopped Mbumo being good. So individuals can still perform in a bad system if they're one, good enough, and two, if they're working hard enough, and if they're in the right form. We've seen that for many. Bruno, that you call a United legend, invariably moved into central midfield. We had some stinky teams where Bruno was still one of the highest goal scoring and highest creating midfield players in Europe. I think sometimes we don't like to call our players out when they're individually poor, or sometimes we don't like to call out signings or players when they're just not good enough. At the end of the day, you have to call a spade sometimes. And I think Liverpool overall, experienced players haven't delivered. New signings ain't ready yet. And I do think the manager has made changes to their system that he didn't need to make. You add all those things together with losing some stars. It's hindsight 2020 vision. Now looking back at it and looking at all those things, I'm like, yeah, it's actually quite a bad way.
Yeah. I don't know which game. I don't know which game it was.
They've got a lovely run of fixtures, though.
A
lovely run of fixtures.
That's what I'm saying. When people say they're out the title race, well, I'm going to admit, we've got Newcastle away next. We could easily lose that. I think Arsenal have got Spurs, right? They could lose that.
Followed by Chelsea
away.
But it's the vibe there, though. It is the vibe there.
The thing is, it's because they're chasing two as well, two teams. But had Arsenal beat Sunderland, they were 10 behind. I would have counted them out of it. Because it's only 8. There is a small chance, but the thing is, they've got to not just chase Arsenal, they've got to chase City as well. So, Arsenal might drop points, City might drop points.
I would say on that just quickly. I'd say on that, if it was Manchester City 8 points ahead instead of or 6, whatever it is, instead of Arsenal, I would definitely have counted Liverpool out purely for the know-how. There's
no way I'm saying they're out in November. I'll tell you what. One last point, on this one for me. I'm going to rob this from rob it from Rob in the chat. Yeah, I think there's also a point. Yeah, that they probably just got a little bit overhyped from last year as well. And this ain't taking nothing away from them. They won the league. They were the best team in the country, right? But fundamentally, City fell off massively and Arsenal weren't at the levels. So they coasted to the league. Yeah. And again, not taking anything away. They were the best team. They won the league. You still get the trophy. But I don't think last year they was quite as good as maybe some people overhyped them. And then this year, they've obviously had a decline. And compound that with everything else, this is where you're at.
To be fair to them, and it's an awkward subject to talk about, they did lose a starting, bench player came on, but Jota dying was a big deal. It's a massive deal. It's going to have some sort of effect. But
Dave,
again,
I said that. I said that, and you said when we spoke about this, and you said you think it would spur them on. But I thought maybe not.
I mean, if Liverpool were off, sorry, just quickly, Travalius, if Liverpool are that good, how come you got knocked out like the quarterfinals of the Champions League, bro? How come you only win one trophy if you're that good? If you're that good, why don't you win multiple trophies? Why don't you get to semi-final or final?
Yeah, but this is the problem with what I think with Liverpool. And
it's not taking anything away just because you get butthurt about it, because it's true. You know it's true, but you still won the league. I ain't saying nothing.
They were the best team in England by far. Last year.
Yeah, of course they were. I agree with that.
Yeah.
They were 100%
best of the bad
best team in England. But the point is, that team last year was, if you compared that to other Premier League titles winning teams, I don't think it was very good. You still got the job done, and people think he's taken away from it. I'm just saying that you were probably going to have a natural decline anyway, because Arsenal and City were never going to be as bad as they were last year, right? Combine that with the fact that you're having a few troubles integrating new players in. This is the result.
They've conceded 17 goals, mate, in the Premier League, and it's down to the defence, obviously, but it's massively down. Why I don't think 17. I think in the league. Wow. Well, this is why I don't think they'll win the league. You can't be leaky like that. I'm sorry. You don't have to have the best defense in the world to win the Premier League, but you can't have a bad defense like that. And this is why I sort of think it is. Granted, on both wings, on both wing backs, you've got 2 new players who haven't quite settled in yet. One of them you're losing, who's one of your benchmark right backs. And you've got Van Dijk, who clearly ain't up to it. Now, I've always sort of said as a centre-backs, you get partnerships, and I've always said it like this. You get a number 1 centre-back and a number 2 centre-back. Very rarely do you get a 2 number 1s, like what I always thought of a Rio Ferdinand and a Vidic were. 2 number 1 centre-backs playing next to each other, invincible, excellent partnership. A Tony Adams and a Campbell, if they'd have played in their pomp, unbelievable. But obviously Liverpool haven't had that. They've had Van Dijk, who's a number 1 centre-back without a shadow of a doubt. But in his pomp, he makes whoever plays next to him a level up. And he also then gives that bit more security to his right back. So all of a sudden now, you're seeing a Liverpool who've got 2 different new right and left backs. And then you've got a Van Dijk who ain't quite number one in really anymore. He's not saying he's crap, but he's not quite got that stardust that he did have. And that's making his partner not as good as an invincible Van Dijk was. So you're seeing, coupled with a bit of an Alisson injury, you're seeing a very, very, very vulnerable Liverpool defence. And over 38 games, whether people like what I'm going to say or not, that is not sustainable to lift silverware. It just isn't.
I hear you on that. What I will say as well, statistically speaking, it's the fourth worst start to the title defence at this stage of the season ever. Only Blackburn, Leicester.
Man United up there?
United, one. No. Not after 11 games, you have more points than this. I think. I something somebody shared. I haven't checked it all myself. United's actually, after we did our three-peat and won our treble, so in like 01-02, when you won the league, we had 18 points after 11 games. We recovered from that point. They would end up coming third. I think we finished like 8 points off the top from that stage. So things can turn around from that level, but. I think United had scored nearly 30 goals at that point. We were a bit leaky at the back. That being said, that was off the back of a three-peat, a treble, and everything else. Like, this is one league title win. To drop off to this degree, I think it's frustrating for Liverpool fans, because when you go back to the conversations in the summer, I thought they were going to do it. So I'm not saying that they were silly to think it. I felt the same. I thought they were looking at a team that could give them a dynasty. Because I look at, in English football, I only think there's 3 clubs that have ever had what I call a dynasty team. Liverpool did it in the 70s and 80s. United did it in the 90s and 90s, and we've just witnessed City do it. They're the only 3 dynasty teams that have ever existed. And I'm talking teams that dominate for the better part of a decade, dominate Europe at the same time. Teams that I would consider some of the greatest to ever grace Europe. We've had some amazing teams that have won leagues and won FA Cups and Champions Leagues, but dominate domestically and be a powerhouse for the better part of a decade in Europe. I think we've had only 3 clubs that have done that. And I think Liverpool are trying to repeat that feat, and that's fair. That's what they should be aiming to repeat. You're champions of England. It's amazing what they're winning, but you've always got to try and surpass your own club's previous achievements. And I'm sure Arsenal fans would love to do another Invincibles, but this time doubled up in a season where you win the Champions League, because you always want to better. I love the fact we've done a treble. I want to do another treble. I want to do a fucking quadruple. We've got them all. So I think that's what Liverpool were aiming for, and it just so far hasn't quite worked. That being said, I wouldn't completely write them off. I wouldn't write Arne Slot off. Maybe this season it goes off the boil. Doesn't mean you can't recover, start playing better this season, and then next year you're ready and you're raring to go. And I think sometimes this knee-jerk reaction just to sack someone isn't necessarily right either. To see what happens. But look, we'll see. In terms of the title race, actually, just do a few super chats first. Mathematically, Liverpool are not out. Mentally, 100% is what Garrett says here. It's fair. This here says that Wirtz will come good when Liverpool play the planned system 4-2-3-1. Wirtz behind Isak, Frimpong or Kirkes bombing forward and providing width. Gakpo and Salah narrow near the box. Will happen after the international break. Ooh. Why hasn't it happened so far? Because most of those players have been fit in these 11 games, haven't they? Or maybe I'm dizzy on that.
Yeah, I think the more Slot tinkers with what was working. I mean, you see him go back to Robertson, haven't you? I think the more he tinkers with what was working, he's gonna head downhill.
I think he is like that though, isn't he? Because one of the criticisms I've had of Slot this year is the way he's handled Wirtz. If it was me, if I was the manager, I'd be playing Wirtz every single game for 90 minutes, getting him up to speed, getting him fully match fit. I think the way that he's like pulled him out of certain games, subbing him off, I just don't think that's good at all. And now he's like dropped Kirkes and put Robertson in there. I know Kirkes wasn't playing good, but for me, I'm like, bro, like, what, you're gonna play Robertson, who's 34 for the whole season at left back. I don't know, man. But again, this is what happens when you buy all these players. You know what I mean?
And when things get bad, you make
exactly that.
You've got decisions to make when things get that bad.
Yeah, he wasn't planning to play Robertson like that, but things got bad. And he's like, I need to revert to type. I need to revert to what was working for me and Klopp. That's what he's done. So the more he tinkers with it, according to this super chat, I think the worse they're going to be, if I'm honest.
This year says Isak labelled as a flop is hilarious. People need to calm down. The guy has played 400 minutes in all comps with no preseason. Sheshko has played 710 minutes with a preseason.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Has anyone called him a flop?
Come on. He's a flop. He's a flop so far. I'll tell you that. He ain't getting away with it from me.
This is with Run, right? People can say flop so far. It's fair.
Torres all over again.
Where you're not going to stop though, Run. Where you're not going to stop Man United fans saying something. As an example, is Šeško was almost a third of the price, and he has scored some goals and he has had some moments. There's been loads of elements that have been underwhelming, and there's a lot of development. But Isak is older, Prem proven, between 2 to 3 times more expensive. And the fact that he's only played 400 minutes is also part of why people are calling him a flop, because he's gone and picked up an injury, and we all know availability is the best ability. I think the criticism of the output from the new signings is absolutely fair. I wouldn't personally call them a flop, but one thing I'm annoyed with, I haven't seen Gary Neville speak about Isak or about Wirtz in the same way he has done Šeško. And as a Man United fan, that bothers me, because I think it's energy. If you want to call like Šeško a flop as an individual, that means you've got to start labeling lots of other new signings.
He's also emotionally invested, isn't he? As non-biased as he's trying to be.
Yeah, but I ain't seen Carragher do it either.
But I don't care about that. I push back against all that emotional stuff. Those guys are paid multi-millions of pounds a year. We all pay thousands of pounds a year. I want complete, because we grew up with this. So maybe you're younger than me, David. I grew up in an era where the pundits weren't like that. The pundits weren't emotional in that way.
Alan Hansen.
Yeah, that's coming to my head straight away.
Alan Hansen, yeah.
Well, he famously said you don't win anything with kids. But as soon as we started looking like we were going to win, he didn't spend 2 years. He didn't spend the rest of the season trying to he didn't act like a Liverpool man. He went, I could be wrong about this. I want that. At the end of the day, I don't care about fans being biased. We're kind of meant to be. It's when I see like voices like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, and that started defending Liverpool summer by talking about net spend. Fuck off net spend. It's what you invest in your team. And that's why, to the Liverpool fans, you're going to get a lot of stick, because people don't see the coverage as being equal. And that's a problem for a lot of fans. Wirtz is struggling bad with spacing and pace of the Prem. Same as Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons and Wirtz look almost identical to me. Loads of good touches on the ball, find space, good pirouette, good turn. But at the moment, it's what I would call all fur coat and no knickers. Do you know what I mean?
I thought Xavi Simons looked great against Man United, by the way. He just had no one running around him. He didn't have no support. I thought he looked good, Xavi Simons. Yeah,
maybe. He looks good, but Maddison was like that a lot in Spurs.
They have no attack.
They look really good when they do nothing still, because they the way they move and the way they glide past people looks very good. But I'm an efficiency man above and beyond that. If you're doing those things and you're efficient, like Ronaldinho, I love you. If you're like that, and like you look at Estevao at the minute, looks brilliant and he's delivering. I love it. If you look good and there's nothing at the end of it, for me, I'm like, fuck off. Players like that annoy me the most. I hate players that look good but don't do fucking anything.
That's a bit like Madueke at Arsenal. Everyone was raving him. And don't get me wrong, he's good, new player, and he was very direct. He was winning, but there was no end product. So I wasn't getting carried away with Madueke. So I agree with you.
I've been so negative, Daniel. Listen, you know what I would say as well, about about settling in. Granted, I can get always the counter argument. People going, for 26 and 27 season, maybe all of them Liverpool signings are going to fly and Liverpool going to win the league at a canter. That doesn't absolve the criticism for the here and the now. And all of them have just been subpar. You can't rule that out. Some people might call it flop. That's absolutely well within people's rights to do. But for me, they've been well under par. That's not a criticism. And fans just can't seem to separate that. They'll go, but he needs time. Granted, I actually agree with that. 100% players do need time. But he's also not been good now. That doesn't resolve the criticism.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I want to speak Chelsea for a moment, because I saw my timeline today served me up maybe one of the best combinations of tweets that I've seen in a long time. I'm going to put them on the screen. The first one that I scrolled to is on the right, which was somebody saying title contenders, the nearest to 13th in the Premier League, and a Chelsea fan quote tweeted saying not a single Chelsea fan is talking about us being title contenders. The very next tweet above it on my timeline was basically, I can't wait until Cole Palmer's back, because we're going to be challenging for the league title when you look at our underlying numbers. And it was my timeline. Obviously, it's the algorithm. But and I'm going to go to LB first on this. I would say today, if you search Chelsea title race, Palmer title race, a lot of Chelsea fans are looking at the league table now. They see that Palmer's coming back. They look at their underlying numbers, XG, entries into the box, chances created, and are saying, and the tweets are there if you want to see it, that they're going to force themselves into this title race that comes after the back of beating Wolves 3-0. What are you saying, LB? Are you regretting criticising them? Do you think they could force themselves into this race with you and Arsenal?
No, I think everything that I said at the start of the season, I stand by on Chelsea. In that, I'll repeat my views. They will comfortably get top 5, which is what I said at the start of the season, but they'll be nowhere near a title race. They're not doing anything that I don't expect them to do right now. They're just doing what they expect to do. But the Chelsea fans, yeah, they're some of these Chelsea fans, mate, are a strange bunch, mate. Yeah, honestly, man. Whoever's tweeted that to say no Chelsea fan was talking about us in a title race, mate, that is absolute BS, man. We was having debates on here. There was loads of people in the chat, Chelsea fans saying we'll be in a title race. So that is absolute cap, yeah. Chelsea are doing exactly what I expected Chelsea to do. They're a good side. They have some good players, as I always said. I like Esteval. I think he's a really, really good player. But for me, they've got far too many mid-level players to be anywhere near a title, which is what I said at the start of the season. So they won't win the title. They won't win the Champions League. But, you know, I don't know what Chelsea fans want us to say because, you know what I mean? What do you want me to do, man? Like, at the end of the day, I think you guys are too harsh on Maresca at times. You know what I mean? He's working with what he's got. You overhype your squad thinking that you can win a title when it's never going to happen. And then when you lose, you blame Maresca and get onto his back. When I actually think Maresca is doing a really good job there, if I'm being completely honest with you. So, yeah, I think Chelsea fans are just a bit confused, some of them, about where they're at. You know what I mean? They don't, you know what I'm saying? It's mad. It's mad. I've never come across a football team before and a fan base where if you say to them, oh, you should sign some like really good players, they attack you. Like, you know what I mean? If I said to you, Terry, oh, you know what, bro, you should sign Pedri, innit? You'd probably be like, yeah, man, if we could do that, that'd be mega. If I said that to Chelsea, they'd start kicking off at me and start calling me out. You know what I'm saying?
But you're saying Enzo ain't good
weird
enough.
fan base, bro.
My favorite one that I noticed things in, maybe it's because I remember football conversations before social media and I remember them during social. I've been here for the whole ride, right from the start, is when you say you really need experience and they go, but Tosin's experienced and he ain't good enough. It's like, yeah, of course we mean good enough and experienced. The fact that we live in a world now where you have to like preface what you say with that. Whenever you say a club needs to sign someone, you automatically mean good enough for your team. Nobody thinks, yeah, what you really need at Chelsea right now is another shitter. No, it's crazy. That's my funniest pushback. I love it.
Terry, panel, chat. When was the last Premier League team that were a roller coaster side to win the Premier League? There wasn't one. That's what they are. That 1 minute they look like Barcelona, next minute they look like Dagenham and Redbridge. Do you know what I mean? Like we're playing Chelsea away in our second game. We got North London derby at home, and then Chelsea away. I don't know what one's turning up. It's so hard to predict. They could roll us over 2-0 in that game. We could roll them over 3-0. We just don't know. That kind of unpredictability breeds instability, and unstable teams don't usually win the Premier League. And that's why, granted, yeah, they're up there, probably a little bit higher than maybe me or LB would imagine. But either way, me or LB ain't sitting here thinking, wow, what a 6 points behind them. Maybe they could do it this year. You're up 1 week, you're down the other week, you're hot and you're cold, Katy Perry, you're yes and you know. What we doing?
The league is really, the league table is weird right now. Arsenal deserve to be where they are, and so does City. But the rest of it, so I use this website where you can predict the results of the weekend, and it rejigs the table to say where things are going to be. And I quite like it because it gives you like, okay, well, if all that happens, this is what the table looks like. I just quite like using it. And I put in the next 2 rounds of fixtures. I think United will beat Everton, and then I think we'll lose away to Crystal Palace. And I put in my honest predictions for all the other teams. And this is why this early in the season, plus with so many teams close on points, we would jump into 4th if all the results go in and around what I think they'll do. We'll go to 4th in the next round of games. Fucking hell, United are 4th. But then I do think we lose to Palace. If all them results then go the way I think, we drop to 9th, right? So for me, I won't be having a party that we're sitting in 4th if we beat Everton. Equally, I potentially won't be losing my mind if we drop down to 9th in the next game because it's all so close. And when you're within a few points, and similar with Chelsea, they deserve to be in 3rd place. I don't think, and I know everyone goes on about raise your standards, project the best things possible. I don't think they need to put themselves either mentally as a club and fan base or their team into those conversations. If you want to sneak in as a dark horse, do you know what dark horse do? They don't talk about being dark horses. You just are one. Does that make sense? And I sometimes look at it and go, just go under the radar a little bit. Celebrate your win. I saw some of the guys celebrating. There was that lad that went viral for saying, like, make Esteval the prime minister and stuff. Great. Like, have some fun. But you don't need, this was the tweet I saw that I thought was really interesting. It was looking at their numbers. And then the actual words were, because again, I get called out for making these things up, which I always find weird. I'm making nothing up. I'm just literally looking at what's being said. And the words he used were, where's it gone? The league is so finished once we add Palmer to this. And I think Chelsea are a good team. I actually think they won't be far away from the top as the season goes on. But at the same time, the thing I'm challenging is, as soon as you say, do you think you can win the league or do you think you'll make top four? Don and most of the other Chelsea fans who come on our show go, no idea. And I'm like, I don't get the chess 1 minute, and then the next minute it's like, no, I don't know what we're going to do.
If they want to be honest, bro, they've got to accept that this is going to be a nothing year, and no fan wants to do that. And they hype the squad up at the start of the season. Yeah, this is the point. Going back to the whole debate about Chelsea at the start of the season, when every Chelsea fan was in this chat crying their eyes out saying they've got an agenda. My point was, you're not a million miles away from being a really good side, but you needed to add serious quality to it. You needed a better goalkeeper. You needed better centre-halves. I think you needed a better striker and another winger. You didn't get any centre-halves. You didn't get a goalkeeper. You bought Liam Delap and João Pedro, who are not going to take you to a title as much as you want to convince yourself they are. And you went and bought Gittins and Garnacho for 100 million quid. And they didn't want to accept that what I was saying was true. They are a good side. They'll get top 5 quite comfortably, as I said, but they won't be anywhere near the title race come March, April, May, because throughout the season, they'll be let down by too many mid players. Cole Palmer's a fantastic player, yeah? I love the guy. I wish we never sold him. And I said that at the time when we sold him. He ain't going to be able to carry you to the Premier League on his own, which is what that tweet said.
Yeah. Just quickly as well, Blue Lion King. I know you're only joking here because surely you have to be. That by that logic, then there's still 20 teams in the title race. I mean, what we doing here, Blue Lion King? But I know you're joking anyway. You're not that stupid, are you, Blue Lion King?
Don is here and says, what is Don? I don't know what. This is the weirdest thing Don's ever said to me. Terry, don't do that. Put my comment up. I didn't know you were in the comment section until I saw this one, my friend. But you do what I said. You every week when we ask you ask you to predict Chelsea, you literally say, I really don't know what we're going to be when we turn up, right? And I hear a lot of Chelsea fans say that. But then there'll be the next week when it's we could win the league. And I'm talking as a generalization, a collective here. And then the next week when somebody says you should win it, and if you don't, it's disappointment. It's like, no, we're a work in progress. I've been consistent with my view on Chelsea all year. I think you're a good to very good team. I think you'll be within a hair's breadth of the top of the league for a long period this year. I really, really do. I don't think you can win it though. That's my view. I might be right. I might be wrong. What I'm talking about is what I enjoy, because I think it's funny, but also get confused about is someone like yourself. Essentially, what you'll do is you'll sort of say this now. We ain't getting back to no race without Fofana and Badiashile staying fit. Our biggest issue is the season has been our centre-backs, and nobody disagrees with that. But at the same time, I'm still hearing you predict most weeks. Even against Wolves, I swear you said, I have no idea what team's going to turn up. That might have been the game the week before. And I think when Chelsea fans don't know what team's turning up, it's hard to talk about title races. For me, again, I'm only challenging the intellectual honesty of that comment. That doesn't change my opinion on Chelsea. Now, Staffy's watching. I know that's confusing for you, that I can call out something that I disagree with. It's called layered thinking, just so you know, Staffy. Just in case you get tricked. He called me out the other day for doing that. I'm very sorry that it offends you, Staffy. Let's have a look at some Don Luciano. Leave Don alone. Look at this. LB is clueless, is what Andrew says here.
All right, Chelsea will win the league then. Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Of course we will.
Well, you're so knowledgeable now. You're so knowledgeable, LB.
Go and put 100 quid on Chelsea winning the league if you think they're going to win the league. You get good odds. You probably get
very good odds on that. You get very good odds on that. Don says that was. Yeah, it was against Spurs. I knew it was the week before. But you hear my point. I think this is just my challenge back to Chelsea fans as saying they're in the title race. Not my personal opinion. Two separate things, Staffy. If you're really confident you'll be in the title race, I don't think most Chelsea fans would sit there and say, I don't know if we can beat Spurs away from home. One, when Spurs have got a bad home form and when you nearly always beat them. I think the predictions for the individual games is the biggest indicator on where people truly think they're going to be. I think that's the biggest indicator where they truly think they're going to be as a team. Going to Cardiff versus Arsenal. Hopefully the players back. Is that in the League Cup or something? I don't know. I muted you, by the way, Dan, because you were doing something on your microphone that was making a noise. You'll know when we're back in the race, Terry. I'll tell you straight, lol. I just need my centre-backs fit and the rest of my key players fit too.
Man. They're just happy to take part in it. What's happened to these guys? It's not so weird that they used to be the most ruthless fans and the ruthless club in the country, and now they're just like, "Well, I'll tell you when we're turning up for the race." Like, what is all that about, man? You want to be in a race, and Chelsea have fallen, man, and half their fan base have fallen as well. Yeah, madness. Like, what is this comment, man? Honestly, dumb, man.
Well, I live around West London-ish. I've got a lot of Chelsea mates, and they don't have this level.
This is from Elijah, by the way, who's a Chelsea fan who comes on our shows. And as a Chelsea fan, LB is always speaking facts. Don't listen to those delusional Chelsea fans. Is what Elijah says here. Big up, Elijah. Big up, bro. LB criticizes no matter what, laughing my ass off. What a bum.
That's the thing again. You don't want to listen to what I'm saying, right? So instead, what you do is you pretend like you listen to what I'm saying, but you're hearing something else. I constantly praise Chelsea. I said you'll get top 5 comfortably at the start of the season. Cole Palmer's mega. Caicedo's better than Rice. Esteval's class. Your 2 fullbacks are the best fullbacks in the league. I think your manager's doing a great job. But you don't want to hear anything negative about your club. So you pretend I'm saying something I'm not. Well, when the season ends, you don't win the Premier League, yeah, and you get to the summer, you better hope that your club spend money on players that are over the age of 21, mate, because you're not going to win the league by buying these Garnachos and Gittins, and that ain't going to happen, bro. So I'll be chilling at the end of the year because I'll be right. And if you think I'm wrong, go put some money on Chelsea to win the league because I guarantee you can get them for 10-1. If you're so confident, go and put some serious cash down.
Put the mortgage on it if you're willing to be homeless in April, mate.
Because they know I'm right, bro. They know I'm right. I praise them all the time. They don't want to hear it, so then they just latch onto the negative things. It's funny, man.
Don here says LB without Haaland is losing chest. Let's not do this.
You know what? This is again so low. Like you're pretending things are happening that's not happened. Haaland, we're not without Haaland. Haaland isn't with him. He's here. So you're just inventing something that's not happened yet. You know what I'm saying? That's just what is that comment? You know what I'm saying? Chelsea without Caicedo. Oh well, it's not happened. He's there.
I think as well, though, this is what I would say to Don. I know we've had this conversation on Straight Facts, and maybe it'll come up more this week. But he did say that their squad was better than Arsenal's. But in that conversation, you have to factor in getting injuries. And sometimes it's key players. That's when you really test the strength of the squad, in my personal opinion. And for instance, Fofana being out, if I was a Chelsea fan assessing my squad, I would put Fofana on a list, which means we shouldn't even be considering him and Lavia are 2 players at Chelsea that I wouldn't consider part of my squad strength because they don't stay fit. So they're for me, they go under the brilliant player, but never available. Therefore, they're basically Lee Cattermole and Titus Bramble because they don't play for you. So I think that but let's not pretend Arsenal haven't had injuries. What is it, like 6 or 7? Like main.
Well, we've got the best squad in the world, though, Terry. So injuries shouldn't matter, though.
Well, you've got one of the best squads in the world.
Well, apparently we've got the best squad in the world.
Well, you've definitely got one of the. Would you not say, Aaron, you've got one of the best squads in Europe, therefore the world?
Well, I mean, maybe, but definitely I wouldn't say like some people that we've got the best squad in the world. I mean, that's a bit. Come back down from reality. Come on. Come on. Just put some lead in them trainers. Come back down. Come on.
Look, he's got no reaction.
Back down we come. Gravity's a law. Come on.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Dan.
I've never said we've got the best team in the world.
I never said you did either, to be fair.
I'm not sure about that one.
No, when did I say we were the best team in the world? Best team in the world.
Bro, I don't know about that.
No. I said everyone says that we've got the best team in the world.
I swear you said you was going to win.
But then they say that Arteta's had made bad signings.
You
and
said
you
was
can't
winning
make
the
any
club
good
last week,
signings. And I say, hold on. You say we've got the best squad, we have to win. Everyone says we've got the best squad and the best team in the world, and we have to win.
You were
That's what
rocking the
everyone else
Godfather and all of that.
You're always
Come on,
talking
man.
about
Yeah, the
quad
quad's
last
still
week.
on, mate. The quad ain't going nowhere. The quad's still on.
Yeah, but you were talking about
still fully
quadruple,
on.
quadruples and that. In
Yeah,
your
yeah.
nut, Dan, we've won. We've already surpassed Real Madrid's Champions League record.
Yeah.
No, but
We're already the highest.
But that's
Premier,
not real,
we've
though.
done Liverpool's Premier
Yeah,
League.
but I've never
titles.
said that.
We've won
I've
7
never
World
said that, though.
Cups. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like,
this is
it.
nonsense, though. You're not talking facts. Let's straight
Well,
facts.
I'm just going on the premise of how
Yeah, let's talk
you
facts.
see Arsenal is. Well, you never.
Well,
talk
you think
facts.
we're going?
You
You
talk-
think
you're
you
80%
think we're gonna get
delusion,
relegated?
20% creatine, mate. Honestly,
You think we're
talk
going to get
absolute
relegated?
crap.
You're
talk
80%
absolute
delusion.
crap.
You're 80%
Honestly,
negative.
Come back down. Come on.
All that comes out of your mouth is negative
Come
crap.
on. Daniel.
Boring.
Daniel. Come on. Come back
I
down.
know you sound like an old lady, mate. It's not funny.
Come on.
It's
Back
not
down
funny,
from
mate.
La La Land. Daniel.
No, it's
Come
not
on,
funny
what we doing
at
here?
all.
I mean, my audience is me. I find it funny, so that
All right.
do.
Question though, just Arsenal. I mean, I'm still taken aback. Arsenal definitely have one of the best squads in the world, surely.
It's a
Yeah, we've
decent
got one of the best
squad,
squads
but
in the world,
they've got to
sure.
win something first,
One
haven't
of,
they?
yeah. It's not the
One
best
of.
squad in the world, but it's one of the best squads. In the
Yeah, I mean, it is. I get what you're saying,
It's
Aaron.
hard to pinpoint. It's hard to pinpoint what's the best squad, but without a doubt, this is one of the
I
best
think they
squads
lack
in the
too
world.
much
Of course, it is.
up the top end for me to be the best squad in the world. But
Maybe,
I
yeah.
think they've got one of the best squads in the world.
Yeah, I think one of the best is. I can't think of many squads that. I can't think of many squads that I'd go.
I
like
would say the best. I
of
would say the
Arsenal's.
best, but it's one of the best.
Who would you put? Who would you put as the best? Like LB, top of your head. I know you're not really thought about it, but just top of your head. Hello.
Oh man,
Depth wise, I'd say depth wise as a whole squad, we're definitely in the top 2 or 3 for sure.
yeah, no, I agree. I don't know, man. You'd have to look at the full team, wouldn't you?
To be honest, like Aaron said, that's only confirmed when things are won. I mean, we could talk about depth and all this and all that, and this looks great on paper, and I write this name down and I write that name down, but you got nothing to your name, pal. You know.
But Dave, we've got records though, Dave.
Yeah,
We've got the
Right.
records. We've got records. All the fans are saying.
So
Don't worry, we've got
Dave,
records.
let me ask you about that. Hang on.
Go on.
Sorry, we can get into that. I want to ask Dave a question about that. I differentiate what you're saying between legacy and quality, because I wouldn't say that Man United have won a trophy more recently than Arsenal. That doesn't mean our squad's better than theirs. As an example,
No.
So
Let me explain myself properly. We're going off right now. Forget the past. We're going off right now. Arsenal have one of the best performing squads at the moment, and it will be confirmed that they have one of the best squads by the end of the season when they win a few trophies. That's what.
But David, if you finish,
hang on, Dan. Sorry, Dan. Because listen, I'm not saying that's wrong with that, but when it comes to comparing it against Chelsea, do they have to win the Premier League to be considered a better squad than Chelsea?
Well, I would say they're one of the best performing squads at the moment. And yes, they have a better squad than Chelsea at the moment. But if you have to be honest, if Chelsea go ahead and win the Premier League and use their depth in squad, you have to argue they had a better squad.
Well, no, I would.
It's an irrelevant comparison, though. It's an irrelevant comparison.
Yeah, but
Chelsea haven't got one.
Arsenal finished second.
So it's an irrelevant.
They're the second best team in England. So the second best team in England definitely has one of the best squads in Europe.
But this is my point. I understand.
I think finish second and still have one of the best squads in Europe.
I think they've got to win something. I think
what's the fruition of that? Nothing.
No, but we're not talking about Premier League champions.
Guys, we're getting lost. Guys, I'm trying to find some commonality here. Just please let me host for a second, right? I get your point. I'm just trying to understand this. I understand they have to win something to go into a different category of successful squads and legends, etc. But when you start going through Europe right now, how many squads would you genuinely say are better?
It's hard because, as I said, I think performing squad at the moment, they have one of the best performing squads in the world. At the moment that they are performing, we would have said the same about. Hold on, let me finish. At the moment, we would have, at the first 5 games of the season, we would have said Liverpool's got one of the best performing depth of squads in the world. We're not talking about them at the moment, are we?
Well, that's because but that's because they're underperforming. But my point is, if Arsenal, how many teams right now if Arsenal were lining up against them in a game, how many teams, hand on your heart, would you go, Arsenal will lose to? Right now, who like you genuinely think they would lose to?
At least 3 teams at the top of my head.
Well, there we
PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich.
Real Madrid.
Yeah,
We've already
why
lost
not?
the 2 of them in the Premier League. One with the champions and one
We
with the
beat both of them
promotion.
already.
Yeah, all right, mate. I'm just saying, the top of my head,
What
3 of
promoted
those
side?
could be.
What promoted side did we lose?
But the point I'm making is anyone can lose to anybody, right? We've seen newly promoted teams beat champions of England. I remember Norwich beating Man City when they got promoted. That didn't mean City's squad wasn't one of the best in the world. The point I'm making is I would look at it this way: how good a squad is in terms of its general quality is based on when you make predictions when they play teams. Do you predict them? How often do you predict them to win versus lose? And even when you think they'll lose, how often are you sitting there now going, "Oh, Arsenal could get smashed today"? But I don't think people think that way about Arsenal. Therefore, when you sorry, let me just finish my point. Therefore, when they've got one of the best squads, I agree totally that for that really good squad, that really good performing squad, whichever phrase we want to use, to be looked at as a successful squad or go down as an Arsenal great squad, of course they've got to win major trophies. But in terms of in the world of football right now, there are probably only a couple of clubs who have a better overall squad depth and team than Arsenal.
We've got to do the business.
And
then,
they maybe they don't even.
No injuries, excuses like we've been hearing against
PSG.
Sunderland.
But Aaron, nobody disagrees with you. Everybody said Arsenal have got to start delivering trophies. The reason why people like me
You said Real Madrid
deliver these trophies is because they are one of the best teams. If Arsenal were only the 15th best squad in Europe or the 10th best squad in Europe, there wouldn't be an expectation to win the Champions League, surely.
See, Terry, you've just given him another trophy already. That's what you've done now. Hold on. You've just given him another trophy now. What you've just said now, Arsenal, exactly. Look at his trophy now that he's celebrating. We beat Real Madrid last year.
No, it's not celebrating.
Don't forget.
You said Madrid. You said Madrid would beat us, and we beat them 5-1 over 2 legs.
Of course they can beat you.
We had better XG against PSG as well. Don't worry. Don't forget that. We had better XG.
We beat them 5-1 over 2 legs. The only 2 teams. All right. The only 2 teams. Obviously, there's 3 teams. It's Man City, PSG, and Bayern Munich. That is it. And possibly Barcelona, but I'll be back in Arsenal to beat all the rest of those teams, and that's why that's one of the favourites for the Champions League. We was favourites,
but equally, Dan. Let me ask you this question, Dan. Can you all see? Do you all think it's possible in the Champions League, for instance, for Arsenal to beat those teams? Do we all think they could beat them?
Of course it is.
There we go. And my view on football is this: when you're just assessing the quality of a squad, not their success, because success and quality are not always the same thing. We've seen good teams not win stuff. We all know they can beat all those sides. You can't not have one of the best squads in the world.
What good team have you seen not win stuff? Sorry to interrupt. What good team have you seen not win stuff? Tell me.
What do you mean?
You just said we've seen good teams not win stuff. I don't know a good team.
I have the Dutch team.
Tell me.
80, the Dutch team of 82. There's been that Dutch team.
Are you talking about club football?
I'm just saying they should have won. Anyway,
I've not seen.
We know this Arsenal team.
Hold on.
That's a bit fraudulent, Dan. He's talking about club football.
All right, he said teams.
Tell me a good team. Terry said there's good teams that haven't won stuff. What team is that? Please tell me what team that is.
But that's a really good point, and this is my response to you. I don't think this Arsenal team's done yet.
Yeah, okay. The Arsenal, the
Invincibles
2004 didn't win the Champions League. They won the Premier League, but it was still a great team.
They won something. They're a great team. They won something. But
to become great, you have to win things.
Hold on. What's my argument?
There's loads of good teams. There's loads of good teams.
The debate here right now is Arsenal, for me to confirm that they've got one of the best squad depths in Europe, they have to win something. So we've come full circle.
I understand where you're coming from, but I know one team that was very good. I know one team that was very good that didn't win anything at club level was Pochettino's Tottenham, as an example. They were a very good team. Yeah, but they were a very good team that didn't win anything. And do you know what, Dan? Hang on, guys. What I would say to you, David, on that is I'm assessing what I see from Arsenal right now. They are one of the best teams in Europe. Their defensive record, their goals, where they've finished in the league, how they've done against other big teams shows me that. What I differentiate is turning that great squad, great performance into a team of legends, into a team of greats who win those major competitions. That for me is a fundamental difference between those two conversations. But right now, how I judge, just so you understand so we have some common ground. When I assess who one of the current best squads are, I look at who we expect to win games week in, week out, rather than who's won things, because there are teams that have won Champions Leagues in the last 2 or 3 years that we might not look at currently as one of the best teams. Like Chelsea won it 5 years ago. They won the World Club Cup last year. No one's saying Chelsea are one of the best squads in Europe. So it's not just about winning trophies in recent years. I think it's looking at the old element. What I will say, if this Arsenal team goes another 3 years, keeps coming second, doesn't win a Champions League, picked up no domestic trophies, I would say it's a massively I won't suddenly say the players are crap, because that would be because Harry Kane isn't crap because he didn't win at Tottenham. What I would say, it's a massively underperforming team, and they'll be heavily criticised for it. But what I can't do, sorry, last word I'll say on it, what I can't do is criticise them for something that hasn't happened yet, because they're not at the end of their cycle. So I won't write them off completely.
We're currently top of the Champions League and top of the Premier League. So we must be a pretty decent team, right?
No, but Dan, no one's
you lot ain't even playing in Europe, Dave, right?
No one's
and then you've got Aaron here. You've got Aaron here. I've never seen him so happy because of Arsenal dropped points. He's out here singing songs because Arsenal dropped points. What's going on here? You know, you didn't turn up. Wait, you didn't turn up. You didn't turn up the last 2 weeks.
You and your balloon head, mate.
When we had won 10 games in a row, you didn't turn up for straight facts 2 weeks. I thought you packed it in.
Yeah, because Arsenal are winning every week. I've got things to do, right? And I turned up, and I've always praised
Aston Villa lost. LB didn't turn up. We've had one draw. I'm here, mate. Yeah, I'm here.
You're here, but you're not being very positive, though, are you, Daniel?
Well, I am
angry.
Positive. No,
you've got a little frown.
No, you're sitting there happy. Yeah, because you're happy that Arsenal drew.
I'm enjoying discrediting your nonsense, Dan. That's what that is. That's all that is. I'm happy to do that. I'm devastated. Arsenal drew to all with Sunderland. I'm devastated. But I'm happy to disprove La La Land fans like you absolute talk shit for no reason. That's what I'm happy about. And I'll do it all day long. I'm in the mood
when
today.
the facts are there. It's not talking
shit. A couple of weeks ago, you was goading me, and now it's returned, and you don't like it. So stop being a miserable baby and carry on.
No, it's not being a baby. You're being a baby.
You're being a baby. No, you are. No, you are.
Your silly little songs.
Yeah, no, I'm amusing myself. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Come on, but you talk absolute shit every single week.
Very bitter. You talk shit, mate. You're bitter. You're very bitter.
I will call it out every single week.
You're bitter. A bitter negative man.
You are a lemon because you are so bitter.
Bitter negative man.
What are we doing here? Come here.
I believe in my club. That's what I do.
Yeah,
support my team properly.
Yeah,
support my team properly.
All the way. Daniel, come back down again.
Support my team properly, mate. That's what happens.
Mate. Oh, yeah, that's it. I forgot you told us season ticket Arsenal with 50 years. That they don't deserve to wear the badge. That's not a proper fan. That's being a massive cunt, mate.
Who said that? Who said that? Bro, be easy with the words you're using, man. Be easy with the words.
Whatever words I want.
Yeah, be easy with the words. Come and meet me. Come and meet me and say that to my face.
Be easy with your words. So you're threatening violence, but now you don't like verbal.
Come and meet me. Come and meet me. Come and meet me, mate.
But you don't like verbal confrontation. But
listen. There's respect.
Maybe you're 90% creatine now.
There's respect. There's words that you say. There's words that you say and you don't say.
What a pleb.
There's words that you say and you don't say, mate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, call it, lads.
Gents, I'm muting both of you just for a second, because obviously offering people out, calling each other, see you next Tuesday. We don't need to go into that over. And then Arsenal drop points, still top of the league. I can't believe there's a civil war in the Arsenal fan base when they're top of the league. Yes. So I'm going to step in there. So I thought I'd mute you both just to chill for a minute.
Arsenal have the best squad in the world. There you go.
No, didn't say that, but there we go. It's
done.
Yeah,
you know the problem with that the whole debate though is like, did anyone speak about the manager once? because you said, Terry, that you think that Tottenham team was a really good team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, but I'm someone that doesn't rate Poch.
Yeah,
I think he's well overrated. So, when you're talking about great teams, you're looking at the squads. When you're talking about trophies, and this is my problem with what David was talking about with the trophies, you're looking at the players. I think Arsenal have a really good squad. Could be better, of course, but I don't rate Arteta. So I don't rate Arteta as highly as maybe a positive Dan does, for example. Yeah, but that's the problem when you're comparing the teams. You talk about the squads. Like, we can talk about the squads, but when you start talking about trophies, well, then you're adding in the manager. And that's for me.
True.
Where
I see what you mean.
Good
point.
But to be a great team in terms of
he has built that squad, though.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about great teams in a historic view. you have to talk about trophies. You have to.
Agree.
But
Absolutely agree.
I don't think you have to in the present because it's a different type of great. We're not talking about like City's treble or United's treble or Barca or Real Madrid three-peat. You know what I mean? It's different. So
ultimately, I guess what I mean is in 2 years' time, if they don't win nothing with this squad, we'll never talk about them ever again.
Well, no, I totally agree with that. That's something that
point of view.
That's something I don't disagree with at all. But I'll give you an example. When I was younger, a very, very good team, one of the best in England. And I've always felt that if you're one of the best in England, you're one of the best in Europe. But Newcastle in the 90s stands out. A team that should have won Premier Leagues. But I actually think Kevin Keegan wasn't a good enough coach. I mean, the guy absolutely bottled like a 10-point gap as an example. And they were able to generate that. They were a very good side that didn't go on to win. And I'm sure there'll be fans of all different clubs. There'll be Barca fans. There'll probably be Madrid fans. You look at the Madrid team that went all those years without winning a Champions League. Look at Madrid team that, that you probably find fans of all their own clubs looking and go, we had a great squad in that 3-4 year period, but that coach didn't get us over the line, or that manager weren't able to do X, Y, and Z with us. I think that does exist. But in that moment, we as fans look at those teams and go, fucking hell, look how good they are. Look how good they should be doing. And your point about the manager is very, very true. But overall, when it comes to judging the greatness, the legacy of a team, the trophies are what really matter at the end of the day. The problem is, I feel like sometimes when you have these conversations, like paths get crossed, and it's like you're almost debating two separate subjects at the same time, as opposed to looking at it. And as I say with Arsenal, I don't think there's any team in the world you predict to batter them. And I think if you're not predicting anybody to batter them, by the way, like we did to Arsenal 10 years ago, when Arsenal were going away to AC Milan's and Bayern Munich's, we were all saying they're going to get slapped up. So that's why I think they're one of the
different
best
team, right?
No, but exactly. That team wasn't that Arsenal squad and team at that time. No one considered it one of the best teams in Europe.
If I'm to be honest, this is probably the best prepared Arsenal team in over 10, 15 years to win the Premier League and to win major trophies. And yes, City are 4 points behind, and they've caught Arsenal twice before. But this is probably going to be a harder Arsenal to catch, and I'd argue their manager's also a little more conservative, a little more pragmatic. I think he'll make less mistakes. He won't go for it as much, but I think he'll make less mistakes.
Can I just say, Man City were 3 points behind 2 weeks ago before they lost to Villa. 2 weeks later, now they're 4 points. So it was 3, then it was 4. No, it was 3, then it was 6. Now it's 4. So this whole thing, City, they've been there the whole time. It's not like we were like 10 points clear and they've cut it to 4. City have always been there. The most it's been is 6 points, right? And Arsenal, we've drew one game. No team is going to win every single game. So all these guys that are Arteta out, supposed to be Arsenal fans, can sing and dance all they want because we've dropped 2 points, whether it's good for their content or just because for their own ego, because they think Arteta can't do it. But this Arsenal team, he's saying I'm not coming in there positive. I'm still positive. My team's still top of the Champions League.
Well, I had a question.
My team's still top of the Premier League.
We've segued.
No one's asked me, do I think we're going to still win the league?
Dan, we're going to segue into that in a minute because it was the final talking point of the night. I want to do some of these super chats first. So this here says, don't rate Arteta, lol. This is his first job, clown, all whilst taking on super teams. This guy, LB, talks so big. I think LB was back in Arsenal, really, to a certain degree. I don't know why you're having to go at LB for.
No, he said he doesn't rate Arteta. That's why
he said they got a great squad, but their manager's dead.
Which I think after what? How much have you spent now, positive, Dan?
We spent 1 billion.
Right. So do you think it's unreasonable for me, to say that I don't rate Arteta like that when he spent £1 billion and not won anything?
Well, what I will say to that is 300 million that was spent this summer. So you can say $1 billion at the end of this summer. So 700 million in 6 years, taking over a team that was finishing 5th and 6th, not playing in the Champions
yes
League.
Or no answer, bro. Is it unreasonable?
No. I think it's unreasonable to say you don't rate him as a manager. I think that's.
When I say don't rate him, by the way, I think he's a good manager. I just don't rate him as an elite level. Okay, so you do think he's a good
manager? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine if you don't rate him at elite level. The trophies. Yeah. Because
I have more respect for Arsenal.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But you said you don't rate him as a manager.
I don't. So, because I'm talking about Arsenal. I'm not talking about Stoke here. Yeah, I'm talking about Arsenal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think Arsenal. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I think Arsenal should have an.
Well, I've only known Arsenal in my lifetime to have one great manager. Obviously, George Graham was there just before my time. But in my lifetime, obviously, he was there for 22 years.
So is it unreasonable for me to say that Arteta is not an elite level manager?
No, not that's not unreasonable to say he's not an elite level. I think you need the trophies. You need the trophies to become elite. Is he one of the best? Is he one of the best managers in the league though? Yes, he is.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
This here from Tony says these two lemons showing more fight than Liverpool versus City. Why are there always extreme types of Arsenal fans? Listen, it's two geezers had a bit of a verbal. That's all it is. We can calm down. Dan, don't mind this clown. Aaron, all right, chill out. There's just no more name calling. I'm not Arteta's biggest fan, but only PSG have a better squad than Arsenal. Bayern and City have similar squads to Arsenal, and Real Madrid didn't win anything last season, just got battered by Liverpool in the Champions League. I think it's one of those things. You'll see some people that will jump on what we spoke about today and say you can't be a great team and you can't praise a team until they've won anything. But if you go through enough of their tweets, you'll see them praising teams that are doing well or on good runs, or managers that start well at clubs they want to, if a manager they rate that other people don't starts well at a new club winning, they go, look at my guy. Everybody does it. It's just that my issue is people pick and choose the logic depending whether they like a club or a manager. In Mo's stream, we Arsenal fans agreed Arsenal is shit. We will get relegated from the Premier League and Chelsea will win the quad because they are better than us, is what Sunrise says here. Arsenal are the favourites to win the Premier League and Champions League with many sports books. That's a metric beyond opinion. It's a great point. That's football fans.
Crap team, though, Terry. That's why we're favourites.
Football fans.
But nobody said you're a crap team, man. I said you're one of the best performing teams in the world. I don't know what more you need to say.
This best performing teams thing.
Who cares if your favourite?
Just look at our squad.
Title, bro.
But what do you want me to say to you? You're the best
team
team
in
the world.
I'm just saying. I don't want you to say that. I didn't say that either. But you were just saying that we're not one of the best teams in Europe, is what you were saying. And you said Madrid would beat us. This team would beat you.
No, that's not what I said. Hold on.
Yes, you did.
He
did.
Hold on. You asked me. You asked me what other teams could have squads that match up. I reeled off some names. Yeah. That's what I did.
Terry asked you the question, what teams? Could you name a load of teams that beat Arsenal? You said yes. And one of them was Real Madrid.
Dan, no one can beat Arsenal.
But that's just
my life.
It's not. That's just patronising, though, Dave. It's not funny because I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, though, am I?
I've said you're one of the best performing teams in the world. I don't know what you want me to say. But
Terry was saying that it's quite clear that Arsenal are one of the best squads in Europe. Now, for me, it doesn't matter if we do or not. We need to win things. Simple as that.
I agree.
But
it will be confirmed.
But you didn't agree. You didn't agree. You did
Oh
not
my
agree.
God,
What we're trying to say is on paper, right? Squad depth, player for player, position. How many players?
You've got 2 players. I do not care about paper.
But that's what we was talking about. If we're talking about trophies, then Liverpool obviously a better team.
I don't care what you were talking about. I'll answer how I interpreted it, yeah? But here's what I'll say. 2 weeks ago, you said this Arsenal team could be one of the best Premier League teams ever. That's what you said. Yeah. Yes. Right. When that happens, you have to win something in order to be that, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm going off of that same logic. I'm remaining consistent. You're one of the best performing teams in the world. I think you're excellent. I think you're one of the best defensive teams I've ever seen. But I won't remember you guys, not even for 5 minutes, unless you win a trophy, bruv. And that's it, bro.
But I want to say very quickly, this is where
not a trophy, the Premier League or the Champions League. Because do you remember Arsenal's FA Cup team?
But that's true. If this team only wins the Carabao Cup, no one's going to call it a great side.
Exactly.
What I'll say to the super chat from Ronin though about the betting, forget what fans do. Fans put money on Luton fans every year would bet for their team to win the league. Actual gamblers, there is a pattern. It's who are they putting their money on? Again, that tells you who they think the best teams are. If honestly, if most people that gamble for Arsenal were nowhere near able to win it, nobody would put any money on them. So the odds does play a part.
When people say that's not a thing, the bookies are not stupid.
Well, it plays a part in what gamblers think as much as anything else. This Aaron
Dan, sorry, one sec. What you just said there as well, Dan. I hope you remain consistent until the end of the year. He has to win the big things. So I do hope that if he doesn't, you want the manager out, because I remember you saying in the last couple of weeks, and you was referring to our side of the fence. I can understand these guys want Arteta out if we're 10 points off the top and we're out the CL. Yeah. What about last year when we were out the CL and 10 points beyond Liverpool? You didn't have the same standards then. Exactly.
No, but last year when you guys were saying that, last year when you guys were saying that,
I don't want you to be a white gal and just carry on like a gal.
Listen, last year, let me finish, and I'll answer your question. Last year, I wasn't even doing football content, But last year, when we were there was loads of times I was even questioning Arteta myself when we drew that game to Aston Villa.
You just didn't save that for the stream, though, did you? Yeah.
No. Listen, I wasn't doing YouTube then. I've just started doing YouTube now, right? And there was loads of times. Like I don't never not question Arteta. I questioned Arteta in his decision to bring on a centre back and not bring on other players. And no manager's perfect. The managers will make mistakes. But what I'm saying to you is that what I said in that video that you're referring to is that I don't understand how anyone cannot be behind the man in charge of their club right now when he's got them at the time of making the video 6 points clear at the top and top of the Champions League. Now is the time to get behind your team and back your manager, not make videos slagging him off. That's my point.
This is where you get it wrong, bruv. This is where you get it wrong. No one technically isn't massively backing the manager. Everyone's just going, we want to keep our feet on the ground because what we see in 22-23 is
not feet on the ground. It's slagging him off. It's slagging him off.
Well, to be fair, on this show, mostly I've only slagged them off when you've provoked me into it. So let's just get that absolutely right. 100%. You can't even deny it because you're not saying anything. Exactly right. 2, every time Arsenal have done well, I've come on here apparently negative and always praised everything. Yeah, but 100%. Can you deny that? No,
have you got a spring in your step since we drew?
Nah,
why would I have that?
You have come on here after wins before and been negative on certain points, not everything.
On certain points, yeah. But LB, come on, let's just say then after 5 games.
No, I agree. I'm just trying to keep the balance, man.
What I'll say is that there was a lot of people.
Got a bit of PTSD. I'm happy to admit that. Of course, I've got PTSD.
Aaron, can I ask you a question?
This manager's 7th season is not one fucking.
Aaron, can I ask you a question? Aaron, can I ask you a question? Aaron, can I ask you a question? Do you see Arsenal as the favourite still to win the Premier League from this point?
Do you know what? It's frustrating because there will be turns in the league this year. 4 points ahead of City. Do you know what I always keep thinking about? And I know it's not the best City we've ever seen, and it's only one game. But you're looking at Arsenal and you sit there and look at the same sort of thing I said about Liverpool. It's funny, isn't it, when you look after their first 5 games, after a few more games ago, maybe they didn't start well. When you sort of draw against Sunderland, I know it's one game, calm everyone's little pants down. You sort of look at it and go, well, it has been coming, that draw. The Manchester United game, we got over the line. In this thing, Newcastle, we got over the line. Crystal Palace, we just about got over the line. And you start adding up and we're like, yeah, to be fair, it's coming. Do I expect Arsenal to win every game? Absolutely not. But do you know what was the biggest kick in the teeth? Seeing that us let slip for a poor managerial tactical decision to just take off Eze. He was playing poor, by the way, and only bring on Eze whilst you've got a Saka, because Saka was shot to absolute pieces. He wasn't even in the camera angle at one stage for about 30 seconds. He was finished. Declan Rice is finished, and you can't bring fresh legs on that midfield. That tactical decision cost us 2 points. And that's frustrating. And do you know what? It's the biggest kick in the teeth. The cherry on top of the icing and the ugliest, awfulest tasting cake you'll ever fucking eat was watching how good Manchester City were. Because whilst, yes, it's only one game, you're going, oh, we're Arsenal just maybe waving a little bit and Manchester City maybe going that way. And we've seen over historical events over the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons, Manchester City turn into a different animal most of the time in the second half of the season. And that does worry me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Am I happy with Arsenal being 4 points ahead of the league? Of course I bloody am. Why would I not?
What I'll say to that?
Get pissed
what
off.
I'll say to right now.
I'm double happy. I'm buzzing. But I am looking like that. But LB's
as soon as we put points, it's all Arteta's fault, and you're talking about his tactics.
That managerial. We was 2-1 ahead. We was 2-1 ahead. When we won, to go, and he brings on Mascara,
when we won 10 games in a row,
he and him alone chose to make that tactical decision, and after that, we lost the fucking lead.
Okay, all right, you're going to let me speak now.
Man. What about the Arteta, and you're going to come in your pants like Jim from American Pie? What are we doing? Just accept that there's criticism of Arteta, for fuck's sake.
Okay, all right. Is there praise though? Do you praise him when we win 10 games in a row?
Yeah, I have done on this stream.
When we have 8 wins in a row.
Yeah, I have done on this stream. Yeah, I have done on this stream.
I've never heard it then.
Well, because you ain't listening then, are you? Open your ears, big boy. Open your ears. Open your ears then.
Again, to be balanced, I have heard Aaron praise Arteta
numerous times on this stream. Open your ears, bro. Take them off and have a little listen.
I've not heard it.
Well, that's your problem, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Jim from American Pie. I reckon you were coming when Sunderland scored that goal. When Sunderland scored that goal, you were like, yes.
Oh God, mate. This has gone to pot.
Oh, again?
This we're going to get back to these super chats here. Chelsea fans are some of the most delusional people I've met. I'm hearing they're going to smash Arsenal when they haven't beat us at Stamford Bridge in 7 years. This is from Laddie. Long time no see, Laddie. Hope you're well, brother. He says Chelsea could win it, but it's highly unlikely. But it's being written off that irks some. LB didn't have this much chest early on. Chelsea is pure vibes.
I mean, you're basically saying the same as me, that you're not going to win the title. You just don't want to say it. Innit? That's basically what the guy's saying there. He's basically saying, we ain't winning the league. LB's right. Cheers, bro. That's basically what you've said. Like, you just don't want to say it like me. I'm just saying it like direct. You don't want to be direct about it. So, but you're basically saying the same.
With that fans Palmer logic, imagine when first place Arsenal get Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Jesus, Madueke, and Gyökeres back. Look, I do agree. I don't agree with that Palmer logic. I remember having an Arsenal fan on a show once who put a spreadsheet together years ago. I still laugh when I think about this. And he basically did. It was. I don't know how many hours he spent on it, but essentially what he did is he put together a spreadsheet that shows when Arsenal played with them best 11. They beat nearly every team in the league, and they basically extrapolated that and said, if we had our best 11 against everyone in the league, he redone the table, and it worked out they came in like second that year. I think when you came in fifth or something. And the one question I asked him, which after he spent about 25 to 30 hours working on this, I asked him was, well, in the games where you're now playing those sides and beating them, have you factored in their best 11 or any injuries on their part? And he went, no, I didn't do that. I went, you see why it doesn't quite work. Like sometimes if you're going to apply that logic, you've got to apply it to every team universally. Yeah. Plus you look at City this season. City have got better and better as the season's gone on. That's why when you see those Opta predictions at the beginning of the season, 5 games ago now, they're going to look different because teams do improve. Some get better and maintain it. Some have purple patches. You know, it wouldn't shock anybody if Sunderland fell off the edge of a cliff. I'm not saying they will, but we've seen Blackpool when they first got promoted at a brilliant opening 10 games. And these things happen. And I think sometimes it's not as simple as just looking at the stats. Sometimes it's things you don't know are coming yet. There's a big mixture of these things.
What I will say with Arsenal is they'll get all those players back, and then the players that are fit right now will get injured. It seems to always happen that way, you know?
Well, most teams just get injuries. I mean, even teams where you go, they haven't had many injuries this year. When you actually look at the numbers, every team picks up injuries every year, which is why when it comes to assessing a squad, you can't assess it and go, if we get no injuries, we've got the best squad. But you will get injuries because everyone always gets injuries. It's just weird analysis for me. Why do I agree with LB that we are not going to be in the title race? I do think we are moving in a good direction. To be third with no Levi Palmer or Delap and have the second most goals, it's promising.
Good, because you're being honest with yourself, Marchin, bro. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what you just said there. Yeah, you are moving in the right direction. You are a good team, and you've got some really good players. What you need to do this summer, as a fan base, is be making sure that you're pressuring your board via whatever means necessary to make sure when you go into that transfer market next summer, you're buying proven players or players that are, ready, like 25-year-olds and that, ready to sort of take that next step up to push you forward onto the title rather than constantly going for the young players. That's it. Spot on, bro. Big comment, bro.
To the Arsenal fans on the panel, why are Chelsea and Spurs fans all of a sudden rubbing their hands just because Arsenal dropped points? Yeah, I mean, neither of you are scared about playing Spurs at home, surely.
I mean, to be fair, though,
we can come together and hold hands on that one, you two, that you're not scared of Spurs, neither of you, right at home.
3-0, easy win.
To be fair, though, what you're saying, like, surely, but Chelsea and Spurs would rather play Arsenal on the back of them not winning a game than on the back of them winning a game.
Well, I don't know.
Do you know what? There's a little bit of added. I expect. Let me start with this. I expect Arsenal to beat Tottenham at home, absolutely. But drawing that game against Sunderland has added that little bit extra of you kind of got to win now. If we'd have beat Sunderland, granted, I wouldn't be double happy. I don't think any Arsenal fan would be happy about drawing to Spurs. But at least you go, well, the draw was coming somewhere. It's frustrating this game here. But because you've dropped them points and Man City, you're looking good. They're 4 points behind. They've got a tricky game at Newcastle away, absolutely, which is first, by the way. So we'll know the result of that come the North London derby. It just does add that extra little bit of spice. I've always thought form-ish goes a little bit out the window of Spurs. in the North London derby, home or away. But having said all of that, I still do expect us to win. I'd love for it to be as comfortable as Dan thinks. I really would. Of course I would. I think it might be a little bit more testier than that. Spurs have been pretty good away from home. I think Sunderland showed a good little blueprint on how to play Arsenal. Maybe Thomas Frank will sort of do something similar, trying to bastard a draw against us. So I think, it might not be as easy as a 3-0. If it's going to be 3-0, double happy. I'll be somersaulting at the stadium. As long as we win, though, which I expect us to do, I'll be happy with that.
Can LB and David start fighting too?
What's it called in WWE when you got all the geezers in the ring and cry them out? What's that one?
Royal Rumble.
Get in the ring, yeah.
Name one team that sustained a title race with a goalkeeper at the level of Sanchez and a backline that's spotty. One single team, please.
Who was Leicester's goalkeeper?
No, but their defense,
but hold on. They're asking about the goalkeeper. They're asking about the goalkeeper.
No, he said backline that's spotty. Do you know the one team I would say? The one team I don't remember who their goalkeeper was. But the one team that were a bit leaky that were in a title race was Gerrard's 2014 slip team. They just
would it have been Reina?
Reina.
Was Reina in goal? But that was that the back end of Reina? Why do I think Mignolet was in? Why do I think Mignolet was in goal?
It was Mignolet. Reina was gone by then. Reina had gone by then.
Okay, cool. If it was Mignolet.
That was the one team I remember.
Reina's Torres days, isn't it?
Yeah, Reina had gone.
Mignolet was Mignolet.
Yeah, Reina.
They had Skirtle and Agger and players like that back in it.
This says for the panel, what separates Chelsea from competing for the title? Consistency, squad depth, key players, experience. We kind of already, this was much earlier in the show, this super chat. I think we've definitely gone through this in the show, my friend. But yeah, I think it's a combination of all those things. They need some key players back. I still think they need some more strength in depth. And I think you should do that.
I've got a confession. I picked them to win it. So that's my confession there, isn't it? Yeah. Straight up, I did. Do you know, I thought they could have a season like they did under Conte, and I guess I got gassed with seeing them with Trump and all that. And I honestly thought they could pull a season like that, And listen, you never
Donald
know.
Trump
I've put it out there. I've put it out there. I've picked them to win it. So
fair. I wouldn't have done, but I can see it.
They're looking more likely than Liverpool now, though. You chose Liverpool, did you tell? So.
I did choose Liverpool. That actually looks a much worse prediction.
That looks worse now, yeah.
But you're the only person that I think I've come across on socials who predicted Chelsea to win it. Even not even Chelsea fans that we work with. That's why
I'm sure he was just trying to wind me up when he said
maybe.
No, honestly, I honestly thought they would have a Conte season. You know that out of nowhere, just get momentum, string it all together. They could still do that.
No, they can't.
That made me die. That made me die. Yeah, well, we're at the end of the show. We haven't got to the Elliot Anderson bit, but we'll cover that another day. The shows go in their own direction at times. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank you all for watching. It means a great deal to us that you all did it. LB, David, Positive, Dan, and Aaron, thank you very, very much for being here. I appreciate it loads. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we're going to see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.